You're watching Community Conversations, a ConcordTV production.
And welcome to Community Conversations, which is an original ConcordTV production hosted right here in our studio. I'm Josh Hardy, ConcordTV Executive Director, and we have a really great episode today because we're going to be talking about Catch. And we have Aaron Scheich, who you have a long title that I'm sure you can tell us about everything you do for Catch. And you have an event coming up which we're going to talk about. But first, tell us about Catch and sort of what the mission is and the services you provide to Concord and the New Hampshire community.
Sure. So Catch Neighborhood Housing was founded in 1989, and we have changed a lot since then, but we have three main programs that we have within our organization. Catch is mostly affordable rental apartments, so we have 324 apartments throughout Merrimack County, and then we also have the Endicott Hotel, which is a beautiful building in downtown Concord, which is our own market rate apartment building. We also have an in-house property management company called Alliance Asset Management. So if anybody is interested in living in one of our apartments, that would be who you contact for an application.
Okay.
And then we also have a partnership organization called Home Team, which does all of our home buyer education, landlord, tenant rights, all of that kind of stuff. So if anybody is interested in buying their first home, they do a full day-long Saturday seminar to kind of familiarize people with that process.
Well, yeah, because it's kind of overwhelming when,
yeah,
if you've never done it before, right? Like gone through the home buying process. It's confusing. Not that I know, I'm still a renter, but
right, me too.
But it's still overwhelming to kind of a daunting task to figure out who to talk to and how to navigate all of that. Yeah. Now, when you said that's a day long on Saturdays, is it once a year that it happens on Saturday, or specific Saturdays?
Yes.
Or, yeah.
So I would recommend checking out the Home Team NH website.
Okay.
And we cover almost all of the state of New Hampshire. We have a couple different partners throughout the state that do the seminars. And it's, a 9 to 4 lunches included kind of session. Concord has a couple coming up here. So there's Saturdays and lunches included, and then they bring in mortgage lenders, inspections, every piece of the puzzle that you could ever want to know, probably more than you ever want to know about buying a home.
Probably a lot more, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it's just a good overview of what you can expect, and then you get free one-on-one counseling afterwards to kind of break down, can you afford to buy a home, what are taxes like, and then they can help connect you to more services.
Well, because, not to go too off track here, but the last financial crisis we had was a lot of people who took out mortgages that they really couldn't afford.
Right.
And that we want, as an economy and here in Concord and New Hampshire, to avoid people who take out these mortgages, or not having a plan for how are they actually going to live and pay off of that mortgage. So
some people who take these classes, they say that. They say, this was the best, X dollar amount investment that I made in my, adventure in buying a home, because I learned that I can't afford it right now. So instead of, going through that whole process to find out that it would have been a terrible mistake, they learned, and
better to find out before.
Right, exactly.
So from my involvement with ConcordTV, we cover a lot of different city events, and one thing that we hear about as kind of a city initiative and a priority is about affordable housing and about education in terms of how to go through that process of buying a house. And there's been a lot of projects. You mentioned the Endicott Hotel. But how do you feel like, so Catch really, how do you feel how it aligns with like city priorities and the importance of Catch in terms of making Concord more affordable for people, especially young people, and to be able to stay in Concord and to raise a family here?
Sure. So I like to use the term workforce housing.
Yes.
Catch fills the need kind of in between the low income market and what we call market rate, which is just generally what anyone can charge for rent. So when we build apartment buildings or are renovating an old mill, for example, in Franklin, we think about who is in the workforce in this community and who might want to move to that community, and what do their housing needs look like. So, for example, we have, most of our apartments are in Concord, but we actually have Susie Pegg, the Economic Development Director for the City of Concord, on our board, and she talks all the time, and I'm sure she's talked to you about it.
Oh yeah.
About really New Hampshire in general, and Concord especially, needs a workforce, and Catch plays a small role in trying to make the availability of housing in our area a bigger reality. We have a long way to go, but we're working on it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you mentioned Susie, and there's a video that'll be coming out somewhere down the line that has Susie and some other notable Concord people talking about catch and the importance of catch.
Yep.
So I think before we talk about the event, because I wanted you in here because of this cool new event that's coming up, but first, I know you are a transplant from Wisconsin, right?
Yes.
So for those who don't know you that well or know you but don't know your background, to give us kind of the quick version of what led you to go from Wisconsin to ending up in New Hampshire.
Sure. So I moved to New Hampshire in 2012. I just graduated from college, and I mean, I still don't really know what I want to do when I grow up, but back then I really didn't know. So I joined actually an AmeriCorps program, and I moved to Nashua, New Hampshire a few months after college to join a VISTA program, and that's basically a year of national service devoted to one specific organization. So my VISTA position was at Harbor Homes and their network of nonprofits down there. And I learned a lot about homelessness, specifically some of their veterans programs. I was their events coordinator, so I got to meet a lot of different people, a lot of their clients. And after a year, I wasn't sure exactly what the next step was, but I ended up looking for other housing organizations in the state, and Catch ended up looking for somebody at the same time. So it was kind of my destiny.
It just worked out, and they're lucky. Yeah. They're lucky that it worked out that way, and here you are. So, yeah. And Concord has really lucked out to have you, because you're also introducing a new fundraiser, a Masquerade, and I thought it was the coolest idea. And I haven't gotten tickets yet, but I am going to be there.
Excellent.
So I'll buy my tickets before they're sold out.
Yes, thank you.
But if you could just tell us about sort of the concept of the Masquerade, where it came from, and then sort of what's going to be happening there.
Sure. So for the past 25 years, which seems a very long time for me, yep. Catch has historically had a comedy night fundraiser. And we love comedy, but we've just thought with our 30th anniversary this year, we should really step it up a notch and kind of bring something new to the area. So after spending a lot of time on Pinterest and kind of exploring what the opportunities might be for a big, really fun spring event, yep. I came across the Masquerade idea, and having not seen a Masquerade in the Concord area, at least that I can remember, I thought that'd be a really cool idea. But then I kind of kept thinking about, how can I tie this sort of an event into housing? Why would people want to come support Catch and maybe learn more about what we do? And I kind of thought of the phrase unmasking the myths of affordable housing, because I think a lot of people don't really understand A, what Catch does, but B, kind of how housing fits into all the different issues in our communities, why housing is so important to every other fundamental need that we have as human beings. And so I really just thought Masquerade, really fun kind of dance party sort of thing, but also with a really serious message of why it's so important and how we can help unmask those unrealities of what people might think that housing is.
Well, I love the idea because it's a fun event, and I definitely plan on being there, but it's also mission related. It's basically, right. It's how do we tie this back in? And obviously you want to raise money for the organization as well.
Definitely.
But I like how you kind of came up with that unmasking concept and found a way that it's not just a masquerade for the sake of a masquerade, as fun as that is. Now, I think you had mentioned to me that there would be like some artist displays and live music, things like that, right?
Yeah, so the event will be on Friday, March 13th, so please mark your calendars. And the event will take place starting at 6 o'clock at the Grapponi Conference Center. And when you walk in, we're hoping to have it, massively decorated in the theme of Masquerade and kind of a garden New Orleans style decor. We hope to have an art walk in the main lobby. And the reason for that is I wanted to tie in the theme of home and why people understand home to be so important to them, and why housing is so important to our community and our economy and everything in between. So I've put out a call to all kinds of different local artists to invite them to either find something they've already made or to create something about representing why they value home and maybe what home looks like to them or what it looks like to somebody else. So before we even get to the masquerade part of things, I want to kind of really tie in that theme of home.
Yeah, and that's something everybody, I think, can empathize with or can relate to, is that feeling of home, whatever home is for someone, that feeling of belonging. And so how's the planning going for it so far? Because this is the first time it's gone. Have you Has it been kind of a learning process?
Yes. Yeah, it's been really fun. And I think having a cool theme and having a really great committee to help me put the event together has been a really fun experience. Lots of great people have stepped up to kind of provide really good ideas and help me connect me with artists as well. We have lots of great people in this Concord area to help support us. So I think Catch is in good hands, and we certainly invite everyone to come and participate.
Yeah, it's great. Now, website catchhousing.org,
Yes.
right? And then they can
Yep.
kind of navigate their way through. You guys have a good website. It's easy
Thank
to track through it.
Yes.
Was that recently designed? Or
Yep.
was that, yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because when I went, it's very easy to just locate what you're looking for.
Beautiful.
So ConcordTV's website is also great. We have a great website. But that does make a difference, actually, in terms of navigating and, like, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so. But
No.
you're probably not the web designer either, right?
Depends on the day.
Well, in your position, you know, community relations, because you do marketing, communications, the e-newsletter, you
Yep.
probably also update content, like, on the website as
Yep.
well. Everything.
Yep.
In the nonprofit world, we kind of have to do a little bit of everything
Yes.
to a certain. Wear many hats, right?
I've thought about like bringing that to life and like just keeping hats in my office so people know like what I'm working on, kind of thing. But
Oh, okay. Yeah, I honestly should do that. Yeah, like have a different color Concord TV hat. That
Yeah,
could be
there you
next
go.
year instead of a masquerade. It could be like different hats.
Yes, I love that.
Hat parade. Yeah, that's a bad
We'll work
idea.
on that.
See, now we're drifting into like more casual conversation that our audience may not find as useful. But we're not talking about Academy Awards or anything like that.
Right.
So, now, one other thing that I didn't want to let you off the hook about, and I did warn you about this beforehand, that you were recognized as one of the 40 under 40 recipients. And you're actually amongst a couple other prominent friends of ours in the Concord community. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on what is that feeling like to be recognized as 40 under 40, and kind of, to me, I think it's cool. It represents, we have kind of this new wave of people in Concord who bring new, fresh ideas. But I mean, what did you think when you found out that that was happening?
I mean, I attended the event, so the union leader puts it together,
Yep.
and they have a reception every, I think it's at the middle of March, and I went last year to kind of celebrate some of my friends who were receiving that honor, and it was inspiring. I mean, they had people, it's 40 under 40, but they had some people that were recognized who were under 20. I mean, there are some
Ooh.
really cool young leaders in our state, and I think they do such a good job of really covering a range of people, whether it's nonprofits, whether it's real estate, lawyers, medical professionals, police officers. I think sometimes, you know, you talked about how, you know, nonprofit people are really, sometimes we get stuck like just talking to only nonprofit people, and we don't have time to think outside that box.
Right, we don't think about other perspectives outside of, but I do like talking to other nonprofits because I find they can relate to the same sort of issues you're going through.
Yes.
But yeah, to get those other perspectives. And I do think that younger people, I mean, we're millennials, but now there's Gen Zers who are entering the workforce as well. And there's a negative stigma about young people to a certain degree in terms of, well, they're not professional. They don't understand how the real world works. But I know from my involvement with the Castle student, which, are you also involved with Castle, or are you just LGC?
Just the leadership.
Guilty.
So far.
Guilty. We all get roped into all of these committees at some point. But Castle, the capital area student leadership, you get to see how these high school kids are already doing things where I'm like, they're like more inspirational and doing more than I'm doing, you know, in terms of community involvement and projects that they're involved in. So I think it's encouraging that you see that, but I think you're also deflecting at the same time, and you're not giving yourself enough credit. And again, I'm not letting you off the hook because you're so humble, but you should realize that it means you've made an impact in the community. So I'm not letting you off the hook for that.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah. That's all I had to say. Yeah.
Yes. But I will say,
yes.
if I can selfishly talk about it,
Please.
I have not finished reading all of the profiles yet, I'll be honest, because
Yep.
it was a little overwhelming when they all came out. But I will say, I think probably read 20 of them so far, and I would say 19 people mentioned housing as something that they viewed as really important to the Granite State and how we can help retain young people. So
Yep.
I think that pretty much says it all about it's on people's minds as something to keep investing in. If our state leaders, national leaders, local leaders can help us create it, it doesn't matter if it's Catch doing it or if it's for-profit developers,
But
we
it's
all
important,
benefit
though.
from it. Yeah.
It's important. Hey, job security. That's all.
Absolutely.
But it's always going to be an issue, whether it's market rate housing or low income housing
Yep.
or figuring out. I mean, you talked about Franklin and how Franklin is trying to bring itself back and become revitalized to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Housing will always be an issue in New Hampshire, but
Yep.
it's
We're
great-
getting there.
We are getting there, and it's great to see new, fresh ideas, and that you have already made waves and have already made such a big difference in the community. So yeah, she's too humble, everybody. She's too humble, but not just yourself, but also Ryan was one. I'm trying to think who people that we know in the Concord community. Ryan,
Yep, and Brianna.
Brianna from the Chamber. So Concord's well represented, actually. Pretty cool. Because that's statewide, so it's not just 40 people from Concord.
Right.
So it's,
Yeah.
Was there anyone else that from that list? Because I haven't seen the whole list. Any other Concord staples?
Oh.
And then
I'm
once
gonna
we
feel
don't, and
terrible
if
if
we
I
don't
forgot.
name them, then they're going to be very horribly offended.
Yes.
No pressure. Yeah.
I will say, my friend Sarah Reitzman, who works for the Seacoast Coalition on Workforce Housing.
Yep.
I can't remember. That's probably not what it's called, but she's awesome.
Yeah, close enough.
And also
yeah.
got it. Yes.
Okay, that's good, and good shout out to her as well.
Yeah.
So, and I have 12 years to get my act together.
Yes.
and figure
Well,
it
that's
out.
the other thing. I read this list and I'm like, oh my gosh, I know so many other awesome young professionals
Yep.
that I want to nominate now next year.
Yeah. Well, it gives us something to strive for.
Right.
So, now is there any? You said they celebrate in March. Is there any other kind of thing that goes along with it? Do you get a trophy or anything? Or
I don't know.
you should get a trophy for that.
Trophy. Well,
You can put it in your email signature now.
yes.
So that's as if your
Add it
title
to my
as if
title.
your title wasn't long enough.
Yes.
And this and that. But anyways, I just wanted to say thank you for all the work you've done in the community and to Catch for being such a vital part to the Concord community. And so your Masquerade, remind us again when it's happening, where it is, and how people can get tickets to it.
Sure. So please visit our website, catchhousing.org. There's two H's in there. Sometimes people miss that. Tickets are $60. They can be purchased right off our website. It's through an Eventbrite. The event is Friday, March 13th at 6 o'clock at the Grapponi Conference Center. I'm looking for volunteers if anybody is interested in helping us kind of break down and set up the event. If you're an artist, I'd love to chat. Yeah, I hope everybody can come. It should be a really fun night. We also have DJ Nazi providing our entertainment, who's
Nazi.
awesome and
Nazi's great. Yeah.
local to Concord also. So
Very cool. That's the good, when the final word, when you're like, it has Nazi. That's it. That's the final pitch
he's
right
the
there.
best. Yeah.
I mean, we could go on and on and on, but he does such a great job. He's always at like in-town Concord events and things like that. Market days, Camp in Town. We love you, Nazi. You're the best.
Yes.
He's probably not watching this.
No.
Hi, Nazi.
We can tag him sometimes.
We'll tag him, yeah. So anyway, so we will make sure to be at that event. I will be there personally, and it sounds like a really fun event. So
Yeah.
thank you. I want to thank Aaron Scheich from Catch Housing. Is it Catch Community Housing? Catch
Catch Neighborhood
Neighborhood
Housing.
Housing.
Yep.
I always just say Catch if I'm not sure.
That's perfect.
Great.
It was once an acronym. I don't know if it technically still is.
It's catchy though. I heard Matt laughing in the back. And that's a sign that we are out of time for today. So thank you, Aaron Scheich from Catch, for being on the show with us today. And we will see you on Community Conversations next time. Thanks.